scarce,
Right.
and it's not. And you know, it's not. There's nothing scarce about it.
Didn't they just print more in the last couple
We
years?
printed. We printed more. I think we printed more money since the last time I was with you than they printed in the last 100 years.
That's crazy.
Since I saw you last. So everybody should have got a pay raise. And I know people are scared of the bubble right now. They're like, oh my God, man, things have to, real estate's too much and stocks are too much. None of this stuff has gone up equal to the amount of money print. So if the print is this high, you know, if the print is that high and inflation that we're hearing about all the time is this high, you'd have to assume it would have at least this far to go. But that's only because people don't understand. When you print this much money, you need to multiply times 9. Because when money's printed, when you take your money to the bank, when I take the money that you're going to give me for this great interview, and I take it to the bank, I put it, as soon as it goes into the bank gets notified, and the bank now has the ability to loan that money out 9 times.
9 times.
9 times. So they don't keep money. Okay, so if you put $1 million with the bank today, they're going to go make $9 million worth of loans tomorrow.
How do they make that? How do they do it?
Well, that's what they're allowed to do by their regulations.
They can take $1 million that you give them.
That's why they want deposits so much.
And then they can go give $9 million in loans on that one.
That's right.
Within a year, 2 years,
Within microseconds.
one day, they can loan out $9 million.
When you, this is what people don't understand. And this is what our parents didn't understand. Okay, so Bob or Betty goes out and they work and they do really well. They make 200 grand a year. Maybe they're online doing online sales. Hustle, trading their most valuable thing. This is what I did for 25 years, from 25 to 51 years old. Spent my most valuable asset, time, to get money, terrified every second of every day. That's really what's driven me the whole time. It's terror. Like when you don't know, you're going to be scared.
Yeah.
So I'm going out to get money. I won't spend anything because I'm terrified. If I can't, I don't know how to get more. I'm worried I can't keep getting. So then I get the money and then I rush off and spend my most valuable asset, time, again to bring it to the bank.
Yeah.
And
then
then
they go multiply.
they're telling me to save it and they don't. And so when I quit listening to everybody that's got an opinion about money online, or my neighbors or my uncles, and I started saying, what do they do? When I quit studying the influencers and started studying the banks, Goldman, JP Morgan, KKR, there's just an endless list of these guys. You start studying those guys. Study Elon. Elon doesn't keep any cash. He thinks the whole thing's a joke, which is probably right. So what does he do? He reinvests everything. He's not paying debt off. He's accumulating debt. But Apple has debt, Google has debt, Facebook has debt, and they have cash reserves that are the biggest cash reserves on planet Earth. They can pay cash for everything. Why do they don't?
Why do they get debt when they have all
Exactly.
Why do they do that?
Because if I take, man, you got a little whiteboard right here. Okay, so if I take, Apple just did this. Okay, I want to make a $90 billion purchase. I want to make and they're like, yeah, we got the cash for that. In fact, we have cash plus another 50%.
Yeah,
we got plenty of cash to do this. Okay, and then one of the people says, okay, bro, you do that? That is not a tax deductible event. What we should do is we should go keep this and go borrow 90 billion.
really?
At like 0.005%. Like they're going to pay 0.5% for this debt. Maybe they pay 1%. Who cares? Right. They're like, I don't care. It's a tax deduction anyway. Interesting. So now they have the best of both worlds. They have their cash and they have debt. Now, back when I was growing up, this debt would cost 10, 12, 15, 18%.
It's so cheap now.
This debt, because we print money. Money is not scarce like our parents told us. Like, well, I was growing up, I bet you I heard at least from my mother, from the age of 10 to 15, if I didn't hear this 500 or 1,000 times, I never heard it once. We don't own the electric company. Turn those lights out, boy. I still have that going on today. my dad, my mom told me my dad would, because he worked so hard, dude. He was so like, oh, I finally got it. I finally made it. Now I got to protect it. He got stuck in the second piece, keeping it. You know, it's an emotional keep. And so it's not a rational thing because you're hoarding now. You know, still today, man, it's tough for me to buy blue jeans if they're not on sale. I'm like, this is stupid, man. Like, why? I'm just going to wait.
Right.
You know, so you know what I'm saying? But it's really stupid that I even worry about it.
Right.
And I'm not saying on the come up, I think you should worry about it.
Right.
But there needs to be where you can turn that switch off.
If you could give, you said there's a lot of misinformation and people just aren't educated on money in general when they're growing up, when there's just a lot of information.
I think the miseducated is more, it's not a financial illiteracy, it's a financial, it's almost like we've been hypnotized with the wrong set of rules.
So if you could only share 3 pieces of information to your kids or the younger generation, or anyone stuck on hoarding and keeping money, what would you say would be those 3 things that you would share?
Yeah.
To change the philosophy and mindset around the fear of money.
Well, I think number one is there's a bigger problem with hoarding in this country than there is with spenders. But what we hear is all the spenders
Who are getting into debt.
Yeah. Oh my God. You know, he did this and he's overspending. But really, you have more of a hoarding issue than you have a spender issue. It's number one. I think people err more on saving and not knowing how to use money than they do on buying Richards and Lambos, even though you see all that around LA. And I know these people are, I walk into Vegas and I sit down at a table in Vegas and I know the 3 guys playing, they're playing 10 times more than I am. They're playing $2,000 a hand, I'm playing $25. I'm like, I know I'm in a better position to play what they're playing for, but I can't do it. So what the advice I would give people is like, I would just assume that everything you know about money is incorrect.
Everything.
Every single thing you know.
Just assume it so you can get back to where.
So that you can actually have a clean board to operate from. Because if you go out right now and try to stack new information, financial literacy on top of, you know, a toxic foundation, it's all going to get all. That's why when I tell people don't go buy a house, everybody freaks out. They're like, that can't be right. That can't be right. Why? Because that's what you've been told to buy a house your whole life. Because the banks want you to buy a house. Now everybody just heard that's going to say, I just saw you buy a house in Malibu.
Right.
I can do anything I want now. Right. Here comes the arrogance. So, but I mean, I'm in a position now, like if I want to buy that house in Malibu, I can. But on the come up, buying a house is not what you should do. You should, 1, I would scrape off that you don't know anything. 2, I would invest everything you can in you. It's tax deductible. You never lose it. The person's personal appreciation will always be bigger than any other asset class.
I love that.
Okay? Bitcoin can't match it. Real estate can't match it. My personal asset appreciation will always, it is infinite. You know, who knows? I could be the next male Oprah, or somebody watching could be the next Rock or whatever, right? Like that. What is that appreciation value? It's straight up.
Yeah.
So the first thing people should invest money in, even use debt on, is their personal improvement. If you told me you had to go borrow $1,000 to go to one of your classes to become great, and it had any potential at all, like even a 1% chance of putting you on the road to greatness, I'd be like, dude, go give Amex or Visa $1,000 right now. I don't even care what the rate is, because the infinite return. Infinite beats 18%. Okay. So number 1, invest in yourself. Number 2, I would invest in your business. Whatever your business is or your department, your division is. Like the first 30 years of my career, I didn't own a company, but I did invest in my department. Even though I worked for a company, I had a secretary. I didn't have the company pay for my secretary. I paid for that. I wanted her to work for me. It was my mom, by the way. And so invest in yourself, you know, invest in yourself, then invest in your business or your department, your skill set. If it's your company, then invest in your company, even down to 0. Like I wouldn't keep money around. Okay. I wouldn't save for a rainy day. I wouldn't have an emergency account. I did all that.
Why not?
Because you don't need it. What you need is you need hustle. You need other people's money. You need to go knock on another door, make another contact. You don't need reserves of money. So what you need is cash flow.
Okay, so how do we get cash flow?
So you by making investments. That's the third. In other things that don't require my skill set. So that would be the third piece of advice: is start investing in real assets. That cash flow. Number two, that or B, that can appreciate. Three, that provide tax shelters. And if you look at those three criteria, Bitcoin doesn't cover it. Stocks probably don't cover it. Gambling doesn't.
Right.
That one, gold doesn't, silver doesn't. Real estate.
NFTs don't.
NFTs don't, because they don't cash flow. That's why when you invested in NFTs and you're like, okay, they're cool, you're crossing your fingers hoping, but you don't see a check. With the real estate, I'm sending you a check every month. You're like, okay, I just got another check. I just got another check. Like, you don't have to be in mystery.
Right.
But the most important thing is that people need to you gotta know that if you live in America and you're having a money problem, it is not because you're stupid. And it's not because you're lazy.
What is it?
It's because you have the wrong information.
The wrong information.
If you're losing at the table and there's other people winning there, okay, you just have the wrong data. And I believe that Americans, particularly Americans, have the wrong data about money. That they're financially, there's medical misinformation, there is financial misinformation in the marketplace. It is perpetuated by the banks and the institutions, because every time you operate under their hypnotism, you benefit them, not your family.
So if someone's got between 1,000 and 10,000, and they're trying to multiply it to 100,000, what would be the steps they would take? How long do you think it would take them to go from 1,000 or 10,000 to multiply it? And would you say put that all in your own personal investment? Would you invest in the business that you're in? Would you invest it in other things that cash flow, appreciate, provide tax shelters? What would you do?
If you got $1,000, I would just keep investing in yourself until you got another 1,000.
Okay.
And then invest in yourself. Now you got 2,000 invested in you. Go. You should start making money faster. At some point, you should start every time you make an investment in yourself. If I put fuel in my car, it's supposed to take me 5. Right. So if I invest in myself, then look, there's things I bought that I didn't get a return on right away. But I didn't quit investing in a course or a workshop or training or education because it didn't work.
Or your health. Or
I spent 17 years going to school. None of it was any good for me. But it did teach me. It did teach me how to go to school.
How to study.
How to go there, how to complete a course. I completed college. I'm not proud of that, by the way.
You're not proud you completed it? Why
not? No, because it was stupid. It was ridiculous. I should have dropped out. I knew it was a bad thing.
What'd you major in?
Major in accounting. It's a good degree. It's not like just some, business degree.
Right. But you should have dropped out of it.
I should 100% because I'd have a 5-year jump on my career. But the problem is I was on drugs. So
actual drugs.
If I would have been on drugs, I would have quit college. Because I would have had enough confidence in myself. When you're on drugs, you can't have confidence. Because you know you're drugged. Right. So everything is second guess. Because my self-esteem was through the basement. And so I'm I need to quit college. But everybody around me is, oh no, you got to finish college, I'm like, what do I know? I'm a drug addict.
And if I drop out, I don't have a degree, and then I got to hire me.
I didn't even worry about it because I didn't worry about that. I just didn't have the confidence to follow my intuition. You can't when you're
on drugs,
when you're not yourself. And so what do you do with $1,000, right? I think you just got to keep investing in you until now I'm making $3,000. Okay, boom, reinvest all that again. But what we do is we start taking it off the table, right?
And saying we don't invest it.
So I think people just need to get on that cycle of okay, I'm going to keep repeating this activity. I'm going to reinvest some money in myself, go to the workshop or whatever. Monday, I got to be hustling again. Until, okay, now I got $4,000. Okay, now I got $5,000. Now the income's starting to pick up. Income has to pick up. The income should be an indication that whatever you're learning is helping you.
That's interesting.
Until one day you're okay, I have more money here than I can actually
invest in myself.
I can't, there's nothing I can go to get rid of this money. You need to get rid of that money.
all my free time is going to my workshops. I don't have
Yeah.
more free time to invest in me.
Yeah,
I'm developing skills, I'm working, I'm earning more.
yeah,
Now, what's the next step?
yeah. And now it would be, okay, I got to spend money on marketing. I wouldn't go look for an investment, right? I'm going to spend money on marketing. Now I'm going to spend money on marketing to get me more leads. And I would, big mistake I made in my career was not spending more money on marketing.
Did you turn what, 50 when you really started investing in?
I was 51 when we started playing the social media game. And I was probably 55 or 56 when we started spending money on marketing. Yeah.
51 when you started doing social media.
Yeah.
And then
And I should have been spending money. I should have been spending money when I was 25 years old. When I was selling cars, I should have been spending money on it. But I was scared, man. So
what made you not scared 25 years later, 26 years later, at 51?
Start studying, hey, what do all these successful people have in common? Whether it was the mattress dealer, the car dealer, the furniture dealer, or Elon Musk, they spend money. They spend money. They spend a lot of money. They don't worry about money the way I was worried about it. They use money. They didn't hoard money. And the greatest companies on this planet today, the ones that have just some of these companies have lost money for 20 years. Look at Amazon. Reinvest. 1.7 million. When I started, I remember I looked at Ernst Young. I said, I had a buddy that worked at Ernst Young. I said, how many years? 240,000. Wow. And I'm worried about 10 people. What am I thinking? So when I quit studying individuals and started studying people, everything shifted for me. When I quit trying to be when I quit worrying about what Bob was doing or Pete or whoever, and started saying, hey man, what does this big company do? Because that also relieved me of being competitive with this guy, Pete, and started saying, okay, I'm going to go do what Coca-Cola does. That's when I bought the plane.
Really?
Yeah.
How were you when you bought the plane?
I was 50, maybe 55, the first one. I bought it because I studied what Coca-Cola was doing. They bought planes. I said, why are they buying planes? Oh, then I learned how they write them off. And then I learned how they trade them every 3 years. So notice every 3 years, I'm trading a plane. I'm getting rid of it, replacing it with another one. But what are they using it for? They don't use it for pleasure. They're not using it for Instagram photos.
Right.
They're using it to go and set up headquarters in other countries.
Wow.
So that's when I wrote, if you're not first, you're last, because when I started studying these companies, I'm like, Coca-Cola, you can't go any place and not see Coca-Cola. And I was like this big. I was always thinking about what can I keep? And they were thinking about how many shells can we get on? How many eyeballs can we see? So that's when it all clicked for me, and that goes back to that thing about the financial misinformation, right? It's like, who am I studying? And that's when we started, open up the funds for I went to New York City to go walk in Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan's offices. I wanted to walk in and see what it was like. These are multi-hundred billion dollar companies,
Crazy.
And I walked in, I was like, oh my God, man. It just all hit me in a second. I've been doing everything.
What were they doing different?
They own the building.
They were renting them.
They own the building. Well, they don't care if they do. They couldn't rent it, but they own the elevators were bigger than the studio. One elevator. And 60 people got on that elevator and went to the 120th floor. And then there was six of these elevators, people going up and down. Everybody told me, don't take people's money. Do not let investors invest in you. Keep the whole deal for yourself. The second I walked into Goldman Sachs,
Because all they're doing is getting investor money.
that's all they do. Okay. And the difference is what I do is I could go to Goldman Sachs. I was there. They would give me money. And I'm like, I'm not going to get money from them. I'm going to do what they do.
How many individuals?
Exactly. From my friends, from people that follow me, from people that support me. Okay. Goldman Sachs will give money to anybody. Okay. They don't know how to go to these people. They're not on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok. So I'm going to create a fund where I can tell my audience, hey, Lewis, you can invest in. I'm going to kick Goldman out of it, or JP or whoever. There's a bunch of these guys. It's not that they're doing a bad thing or anything. I'm not saying they're the devil. but they're close. Okay, because they're not going to call you and say, "How you doing, man?" You know, without saying, "Hey, you got any money to invest?" It's just not, that's not what they do. Their job is to make money, period. So anyway, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, these are the richest institutions on the planet. They fund everything that happens. The company BlackRock's going to be BlackRock and Vanguard. These are probably going to be worth $20 trillion each in the next 4 years. They'll own, they say they'll own 99% of all the assets on planet Earth, not just in Europe.
How are they able to do that?
Because they scale, right? Because they think big. So they're funding everything that happens on this planet, from media to pharmaceutical, is going to be funded by those two companies.
Wow.
So it just, when you're studying your rich uncle or the neighbor down the street, the think is only so big. And then when I started studying these other companies, I was like, okay, this is who you want to create that kind of legacy wealth and really help a lot of people, because they are in a position to help or hurt a lot of people. That's the scale you got to think.
Yeah. But it took you really 25 years to get there, to start thinking that way. Is that right? Because you weren't able to see yourself spending money for 25 years. You were just trying to earn more and more.
Yeah, because I was just trying to, the grind was such a low level grind.
What have you learned about the art of negotiation during, these bigger deals for yourself, and how to navigate those?
Most of these deals are lost over face. They're not even lost over money. They're lost over somebody losing face. I'm doing a deal right now.
You mean ego, or you mean like, what do you mean?
I can't, if I give you any more, I lose face.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm negotiating a deal right now. And I said, look, if I give this guy exactly what he wants right now, he still will not do it. And they're like, why is that? Because he's going to lose face. So it's people have to win. It's almost never about just the money. It's how do I win, not just financially, but how do I win and feel good about this transaction? Because I've done transactions before where I supposedly won in the moment and everybody felt terrible.
So it's not a win unless everyone wins.
No, dude, everybody needs to win. Everybody needs to win something. Like, everybody needs to feel like good about the transaction. I'd rather pay a little more and make sure you feel good than I pay a little less and you feel bad, because I can't do another deal with you. And I'm trying to do more deals. And then everybody's got a motivation. Everyone has a motivation. Every buyer has a motivation. Every seller has a motivation. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with the money. You have to find the motivation.
How do you do that quickly for yourself? Are you asking certain questions to figure out what that is? Or are you just listening to their, without asking them, what's your motivation? How do you ask?
I could ask that. Other than money, why, what do you need? What's your motivation? I could ask them straight up. Asking those kind of direct questions are very powerful. Hey, why would you pick me as a buyer? There's so many other people that could buy this asset. Like, that's one I used in the real estate game. These are $100 million projects, some of which you're invested in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey guys, like JP Morgan's trying to buy this, Blackstone's trying to buy this, Grant Cardone's trying to buy this. The two other groups that have more assets than I have. I'm the little guy on the list. Why me? Why would you pick me? Well, we probably won't. See, that's me qualifying. We're probably going to give it to the guy that just sold the New York Mets. I just lost a deal to that guy. So there's no number. There's nothing I could have done. No number I could have done that would have gotten that deal.
So what does that do for you when you have that information? Does it just allow you to move on quicker to the next opportunity? Yeah.
Okay, well, I stay in real estate. It's called staying by the board. I'm waiting for a rebound. Maybe he blows. Maybe the guy leaves and I'm there waiting for the rebound. I'm just waiting for a ball to fall in my hands, right? And so I'll wait until he closes. But it lets me know, hey, go add something else. That's that 10X mentality. Okay, don't depend on this one thing. If you're disappointed, if I'm disappointed, it's because I'm relying on too few things. If I resent my customer, it is because I have too few.
Too few customers.
Yeah, so everybody, the beauty salon, the restaurant, the bar owner, the consultant, we've all had the experience of resenting our customers, starting not to like them. And it's because we become dependent upon them. We have too few.
If we're resenting our customer, what is that saying about us? That we're not building our brand, that we're not growing, that we're not selling enough?
Yeah, you didn't build the top of your funnel out enough. Because this part of it's easy. Even though you hate them, they never pay you enough. This is the kind of stuff that goes on. They don't pay me enough. They always complain. They never use the product. No matter what I do for them, they bitch and complain. Okay, they're never happy. Blah blah blah. Right. Well, the truth is, those are indications that you didn't build your customer base wide enough, because you now resent them. Your resentment is an indication that you rely on them too much. And every time they complain to you, it reminds you that I'm too reliant on too little. And we've all done it. We all do it. I've done it. Right now, I'm doing it in my real estate. I told my guy, Ryan, the other day, I said, we're depending on this one guy too much. And he's like, why do you say that? Because I'm starting to resent him.
So what's the first thing we should do? What's the action steps after that when we resent our customers?
You gotta understand, it's not about them, it's about you. It has nothing to do with them. You need to go wide. You need to go get more customers. If you resent Facebook, if Facebook pisses you off, it is because you are too reliant on Facebook.
You got to get other platforms. You got to build other leads in other places. There's a ton of social media sites. Don't rely on one.
Hello.
Exactly. And so for me, resentment is always an indication of something about me.
What happens if you resent a family member? If you resent
How are you,
kids,
customer?
you're gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna go find new kids."
Customer
Yeah,
is our boss.
I don't know. I mean, I don't resent my kids, so
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
that's
maybe
why
I'm
we
doing
are
some
here
stuff with
for.
my kids. I don't have that particular issue, but maybe I'm doing some stuff with my kids that somebody else
We are
should
here
do,
to serve
right? So
customers to
maybe,
make them
you
better.
know, I remember when we first had Sabrina, I said, Elena, you cannot be with Sabrina every hour of the day. And
Victor,
I'm like, "Okay, what?"
Eh, too bad. What happened? About them what day? Ndabambi nakita. Ye badde wayadde mulago. Bambi nakiri. Nga kibiina kino. Maama, nange nagaanye okwerayikinga. Oda neebuuza. Does it cost to link a virtual card on personal PayPal account? Yeah. In most cases, linking a virtual card to your personal PayPal account does not incur any specific charge. Did I presume one? Probably was. regarding your question, Cheaper Cash is a mobile payment platform that allows users to send and receive money within Africa. We have its own virtual card for making online payments. It is essential to know that PayPal acceptance of Cheaper Cash cards may vary. Kati abo bagambye bakuleke ogende. Babagambye. Nankunda.